Welcome. This is Life. Thank you for tuning in. Life, as I have said many times before, is an acronym for the revelations from the oxymorons of life. And I'm your host, Dr. Sophia Edwards Bennett, otherwise known as Dr. EB by my patients and all of my colleagues. And today is a very special episode because we will be honoring one of my patients I spoke about in my first episode. And I think I alluded to the fact that her husband would be joining us. I gave you a sneak peek of that during my last episode. And in fact, we have more than just Sarah's husband here. We have her entire family, including her twin sister, and we also have her stepdaughters. We have dad, and we have her brother here, and of course we have Stephen, her husband. And so, what I'd like to share with you before we start the actual interview, so you can learn so much more about Sarah, the spectrum of her life. I would like to first show just a short slide show of her actual arc life and all the things that you probably don't know about her, but some of the things that made her so special to her family and certainly to me. So just watch the short slideshow, and I'm sure that you will be entertained. Sarah, you spread your light and love while you were here with us. You're gone in the flesh, but you remain in our hearts, and your spirit will continue to shine through us as a beacon of light to the world. Hey guys, so that was just our slideshow as a tribute to Sarah. I know it doesn't span her entire life, probably doesn't do justice to everything you know about her and her beautiful soul. But that's why you're here, to let everyone know all the other things that you know about Sarah that they may not know, and also how strong, how creative she was, and how you're coping with the loss of such an angel so that it can help others as well. You being the model family and her being such a great light in this world. Okay. So, Stephen, I guess my first question would be to you, but I'd like everyone to just introduce themselves and tell me just one thing. It doesn't have to be just one word that you would use, the first thing that comes to your mind as an adjective that you would use to describe Sarah.
Hi, my name's Steve Feuerstein. I married Sarah April 16th, 2010. Met her 2 months prior to that. She was an angel in my life, and one word that would describe Sarah would be patience.
Ah, patience.
That's right.
A virtue. Patience is a virtue. Yeah. Okay. You can pass the buck along.
Go
You
ahead,
can.
if you got to get going.
Hi, my name is Melissa, and I am the stepdaughter of Sarah. And the first word that has always come to me with her is humble.
Ah.
She is the most humble person I've ever met.
Mm.
And you don't find that every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I sense that. Yeah. I remember Stephen telling me that she didn't even share all her work. They're so beautiful and she was so humble.
So
I'm
much.
sorry, I used to make you cry.
No, it's okay. She's just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. No words. No words can describe it. Yeah. Okay. How about twin sister? Twins are really close. Rachel, tell me about your thoughts about Sarah.
I suppose my first word would have been leader because I was born first, but ever since then, I think I've been trying to catch up with her, or copy her, and not quite getting there. So.
Yeah, because I know you were born 5 minutes before her, right? So
I think it was 8, but that's not...
It was 8. So did you remind her of that every day? Well, I'm older than you.
Well, yeah.
When you were kids, did you remind her of that every day?
Yeah, I think maybe so. But again, other than being born first, she kind of did everything else first. So I don't know, which was kind of ironic because when we were younger, she was always the stronger one. And so then later in life like this, that turned out to be the opposite. So, physically, not mentally, maybe. But.
How about you, Jessica?
I'm Sarah's other stepdaughter. If I had one word to describe Sarah, it would definitely be creative. Most creative person I've known. She could make pretty much anything and she'd have the patience for it. Just her attention to detail with everything was just amazing, and I always admired that about her.
Thank you. Yeah. Tim, you came along after Sarah and Jessica. You were quasi middle child, right? Because they came.
Yeah, I was like maybe 9 months later. They had another kid. So
9 months. I'm not sure how they accomplished that.
So yeah, my mom was under a lot of stress when I was born, bearing twins than me. So they thought I was going to be twins. They thought I was going to be twins again. So they saved all the girls' clothes and everything, and then I was just one big fat boy. But I kind of look like Sarah with a beard, you know. So,
yeah. I guess I could see that. I guess I could see
look
that.
like triplets, actually, because there's photographs before my younger brother was born of us 3. And we were the young blonde kids running around. And yeah, we kind of look like triplets, actually. And that's probably how we interacted, I think. You know?
Yeah. I saw that picture. It was just you and Rachel and Sarah. At the time, I guess I wouldn't have been able to tell them apart at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dad.
Say one word to describe Sarah.
Faithful. Faith in Christ.
Faith in Christ. Yes. Yep. Can't top that one, huh? She had a strong faith. Yep. Yeah, we talked about that when I saw her. I knew she had a strong love for God. Stephen, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. that actually is a good way to close this segment of our one-word description of her, so to speak. Can you tell me more about her as a child?
Talk about Sarah as a child. Tell the
Yeah.
story about Grandma's little sweetheart.
Oh,
Ah.
I was tell the story about her when she, my mother was baking cookies, and well, my mother had always called her Grandma's little sweetheart, and my mother didn't want her to have the cookie because it was so close to supper time. So, yeah, she grabbed a hold of my mother and said, "Grandma's little sweetheart." And that melted my mother's heart, so she got the cookie.
Wow, so she got her way with the coffee. Okay, she was definitely grandma's little sweetheart then, for sure. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's a great story. Okay, now, whenever we lose someone, I remember when I lost my mom, the things that you remember, it's just very interesting because sometimes they are really the simple things that you recall. They just enter your mind without even any warning, you know? And I wanted to ask you about that. I know, Melissa, you have to leave soon. Tell me something. I know that you were probably, I'm not sure how old you were when you met Sarah, but just knowing Sarah, and I think I talked to Stephen, that transition of meeting her, how was that? And then tell me more about, something you would recall about the transition, meeting her, or even beyond.
Yeah, so I ended up meeting Sarah over 10 years ago. So I was a grown adult, obviously on my own at that time. And at the time was actually praying for my dad every day to just meet someone and be able to kind of turn his own life around, and could not have asked for a better person because she truly changed my dad and was his rock and loved him unconditionally through everything. And that is a huge reminder in my everyday life with her. I could never have been more grateful or thankful for everything she did for him and our family. And she welcomed us in as her own kids, our kids as her grandkids. But the one reminder every day that I have of Sarah is to be kind. We don't have the most patience every day in the world. And I never once heard Sarah complain or say anything negative about anybody ever in my entire time knowing her. And ever since she's passed away, it's like I catch myself. If I have a negative thought or I want to say something bad or am having a rough day, she pops just kind of in the back of my mind right there. And I just, it's like that gentle reminder that just stays with me now. And it's just something I try to remember every single day, is just to be more like Sarah.
Wow.
She's definitely one of a kind.
Beacon of light. Thank you for sharing that, Melissa. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You. Jessica?
Yeah, I kind of the same thing with my sister. I'm just always trying to be more like Sarah. Just the most positive person. She would give you the shoes on her feet if she could. She'd do anything for anybody, and she was just always so caring. And yeah, we just miss having her around. But yeah, definitely grateful for her. As my sister said, she was a godsend. She was the glue to our family. She kept us all together. And yeah, we'll always remain her and be thankful we have her.
Yeah. So when she was around, it's as if she brought this light with her. You just felt that everything was okay as long as she was present. Yeah. Tim?
Did you say?
Yeah, tell me something that you remember distinctly about her, not a description, but a memory, just something.
Well,
It sounds like you guys had an interesting relationship being 9 months apart. So I'm sure you have multiple stories.
well, it's like Rachel said. Yeah, Sarah was always the tough one. She was the tomboy. She was good at sports,
She's a
softball.
tomboy?
Yeah, she
I
always
didn't know that.
she had the short hair and Rachel had the long hair because I guess they didn't want to look like twins. So my sister Sarah was
Oh.
she was the good runner, good at everything, and I was just this little fat kid, and I was she was tough. Sometimes I was afraid of her.
I remember we were visiting somebody during vacation who didn't know us very well, and this man thought that Sarah was a boy.
Really? With her feminine face. She has such a feminine face. I don't know how, but I guess that because she was a tomboy, I guess. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So she was tough, she was a leader, but then at the same time, she coupled that with patience and humility and kindness. That's such a combination that is so very unique, right? I mean, it's almost as if she had an entire package of just everything in her armamentarium that she would use at the right time whenever it was necessary. So if someone needed love, then she would give that gift. And if someone needed a leader, she would give that gift. And if someone needed kindness or patience, then she would do that. So it's almost as if she had everything just carrying around in her heart, and then she would then dispense it as necessary. Very special person, very special person.
Well, which
Rachel. Oh,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to say she changed a lot because when she was young, she was tough, tomboy, all that. But as you know, my dad was a minister, so we moved every 4 years. So as
Mm.
progressively, we were always the new kids in town. When
Mhm.
Rachel and Sarah started to, go through puberty and they wanted to be pretty and wear makeup and dress up, it was hard for them because they were the new girls in town and they were twins and they weren't always, you know, treated kindly at school. So that's when Sarah started to shut down and she started to be more quiet and she wasn't the strong, tough young lady boy she used to be. She kind of started being more quiet and within herself. And I think that's when she started to realize what really it's like to be the outsider. And I think that's why she was kind to people who were the outsiders. And
Got it. Yeah. Our experiences change us. It's what really sparks the metamorphosis. It's how we evolve, right? I'm sorry that she had to go through that period where I guess they weren't being accepted, but it just sounds like Sarah to change that and make it positive, right? What she did was she used that and decided that, okay, well, given that now I've experienced that, what I'm going to do is make sure that anyone who feels isolated has someone to lean on so that they don't have to feel that pain that I felt when I was going through that. That sounds so much like Sarah.
That's why she would never say a negative thing about anybody.
Wow.
I was more the joking type. I was into theater and stuff, and I try to get her. I talked to her about, that person's such a jerk, and she wouldn't say. She would just be quiet.
Tim, well, I love your honesty. Yeah, I love your honesty. So she didn't admonish you. She didn't rebuke you or chastise you, but at the same time, she did not want to contribute to that conversation, I guess. She didn't really
I think maybe it was such a deep wound with her when she was all the time of people talking behind her back and making fun of her. She probably never wanted to be the person that did that to somebody else.
But you know what's interesting to me, Tim, you say that, and there's several ways that we react to any any sort of infractions, right, that occur in our lives. So there are two pathways, right? There is one where you decide, okay, if you cause an infraction or you are rude to me, then I am going to be sure to be insolent to you because that's the only way you're going to know how you made me feel, right? And there's the other path that Sarah took where she decided that that's not the way to address it. She wanted to be the complete opposite. So she wanted to basically, as the Bible says, right? She turn the other cheek, not use the revenge, because vengeance is mine, said the Lord, right? I mean, she was a believer, so I'm sure that's what she thought in her head. And so she decided that her approach would be to kill them with kindness, for want of a better expression, right? So that's a really good, that just shows the heart she has, because only someone with a good heart would actually react to that way.
Yeah, and I think she was so used to so much negativity in her life. She maybe said, I'm never going to be a person that brings any kind of negativity toward anybody.
You keep saying, do you mean they just teased her, or was there
more
negative?
Oh, yeah, horrible. Like we would be on the bus. We had to ride the bus to school. We had to get up at 6:45 to get on the bus because we were the first people picked up. And as the other kids would load the bus, they would sit behind both my sisters and they would tie their hair into knots. And my sisters would sit there. They wouldn't do anything. And I got mad. I wanted to punch. It was a little girl that was doing it to my sisters. And I wanted to punch them. But my sister said, no, don't do anything. Just grin and bear it. And when you get off the bus, we'll untie our hair,
Interesting. Yeah, well, I'm sorry she had to go through that, but I think, we don't know why we go through certain things in life, but it was clear that she reacted in a way that was quite exemplary. And that's the lesson that we can draw from all of this. Rachel, I haven't heard from you. I'm always curious about twins and how twins, did you feel, did you know what was happening to her at any point in time? How did you feel? I mean, when you were together, did you have this whole twin connection?
Well, we're both kind of quiet, so not really in words, I would say, but she didn't really speak much about it or what she was going through. So I have, really no idea of the amount of suffering, because she never, like was mentioned before, never complained or never really, when I'd call her, she'd just either talk about the cat or we'd talk about her pets. And I don't know, she never really, I'd have to ask her, well, how are you feeling today? And she'd just say, well, I maybe had a little nausea today or whatever, but she wouldn't really ever tell me how bad things ever were. So I guess I have no way of knowing, because living so far apart, I've never actually had to witness what you and Steve's family have had to witness it. So
tell me, do you think that was because she was so protective, being the leader, she just wanted to protect everyone's feelings, or she didn't want everyone to carry the burden? Is that why you think?
Yeah, possibly. Not trying to bring everybody else down. I don't know.
Yeah. She sounds like the type. It's interesting how she has this strong presence and spirit that you could formulate words to describe her without her even speaking much. She's more of I show my love through actions more than words. You could just tell that's the type of person she was. So Stephen, I know I've been asking everyone else questions, and that's because we communicate a lot, and because I know that you were with her for most of the last months and years. And I just want, the first thing I want to know is when you all first heard, And I know this is a tough question for everybody. And as I said, I want you to express effusively exactly how you felt, because I think it's important. And crying is never a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. It means that you're comfortable expressing your feelings. So tell me exactly how you felt when you heard the first time you heard about her diagnosis. I'm going to go with Melissa because I know she has to leave.
It was devastating, to be honest. It was just a few months before I thought she was good and we were in remission, and I knew the first time she would have no problem. She would get through it with her faith in God, like her dad said. She was never scared like the rest of us, and it was hard not to show how scared we were. She was strong, and honestly, even when I heard she had the stage 4 and it sounded pretty terminal, that we could just prolong everything, deep down I honestly had hope that she would somehow get through it.
Yeah.
But she did in the end. I mean, she stayed so strong and she fought so hard, and she did everything for us to just have that extra time with her, even though she was miserable. And she never complained. And she always smiled through the whole entire thing. And that's honestly what I remember the most. And she just never quit smiling. And she is in a better place now, and I know that. And I know with the faith that she had, and she was ready. In the end, she was ready to go. So even though we miss her every day, she's definitely in a better place.
She's back with it. She was an angel sent to earth. Just from what we know about her, we know she was. And when you're an angel sent to earth, there's an appointed time, as the Bible says, and then she's back with her counterpart angels, and she's looking down on you guys, and she's going to be in your hearts and spirits forever. It doesn't help the pain of her not physically being here, I'm sure. And there are going to be times when, some days are going to be worse than others. But what do you think? And I have to ask you first, Melissa, how do you think, what helps you cope? Is it just what you said? And also, because really, with such a close-knit family, with such a great person like Sarah, going through what she went through with the strength and courage and just poise that she went through this whole process, so much so that she had a short span of time with me and she made an impression on my life. So I can't imagine how much impression she made on everybody's life she encountered, not just you, but everyone she encountered. I cannot imagine what people would say about her. That is how much she touched everybody's life. So I want you to tell me what helps you to cope, because we want to use your promulgates to help others. We want to use your advice, your counsel to advise others on how you think. I know you're still going through the pain, but what do you think was helpful for you and still is?
I definitely feel the ups and the downs. There is definitely good days and there's bad days. Having my family close has been huge. My dad actually lives about 2 blocks from me down the street. So I've tried to check in and try to just pop in and say hi, and just being over there in their home brings me some sort of comfort. I don't know how to explain it. But that's where I always saw Sarah, the times we spent. So when I'm in their house, it brings back lots of memories, and every memory I ever had of Sarah was good. Obviously the holidays are hard. Rachel came to see us over Thanksgiving, her twin sister, and that was just another thing that helped cope or bring comfort. It was almost like having Sarah there with us. They're so much alike and obviously look alike. So
yeah.
But mostly family and praying. The kids, I have a son who's 10. My sister has a niece. They actually text Sarah to cope with it still, even though her phone isn't connected. They send her text messages when they have hard days. And my niece told me to send one the other day. She said, just text her, you'll feel better. And I actually sent a long text to a phone that's not even connected. And it kind of helped. So it's just little things like that, that all the memories were so good. It's hard to be sad, but at the same time, I know you have to just kind of heal and keep moving forward, because that's what she would have wanted.
That's what she would have wanted. And I think she thought about that. And I think she thought about when she was strong to the end, she wanted to be sure that she left you those memories of her being strong to the end. I think she thought about you more than herself, all of you more than herself. She's just the type to do that so she could leave you with that legacy. Yeah. And that's so unselfish. It's just epitomizes the type of person that she is, with all of her just attributes that are just so unique. You just don't find that everywhere. So yeah. Okay, Stephen, I know I haven't been posing many because I know you'll be here till the end. I just wanted to make sure that I speak to Melissa because I know she has to leave, and I really want to be sure that everyone gets their point across. I want to hear everyone's view. So Stephen, I want you to tell me, I know that she entered your life. I know you got married April 16, 2010. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so tell me, what was the thing that really made you gravitate toward Sarah? What was it?
Just her beauty, her eyes.
Okay.
Her silence. It's just she was such a powerful person, but so silent.
Yes, I remember that. She was laconic when I met her. Yeah.
I mean, there's something about her. Just, I mean, the most forgiving person I've ever met. And at the time I met her, it was a tough time in my life, and I think we both benefited greatly from it. I mean, we both needed someone really bad at that time. She became actually, I tell people I lost my wife, but I lost my best friend. I've never had a best friend in my life because I moved a lot too. My dad was a superintendent of schools, so we moved I went to 3 high schools in 3 states, and then college in 3 different states. So the last 4 years I was in 4 different states. So never had friends, and boy, I was a really good friend.
Yeah.
I went to heaven. But and I have I'd like to personally thank Donnelly for letting me spend those 15 years of my life with your daughter.
He's thanking you first.
Oh, you're truly welcome. I think a lot of you too.
Not sure if I answered the question right, if I even got to the point there, but
it doesn't even matter.
She was an incredible person.
Stephen, what you said was so impactful. There is actually no wrong or right answer when you talk about Sarah. Don't even worry. Don't even think about that. What you said was just so impactful.
But I did hear the one thing, people saying that she never complained, and her sisters would call, she'd talk to her dad, and they'd ask her how she's doing, and it was always, I'm doing fine, I'm doing really good. And I get so upset with her because I said, you need to tell him what's going on. And probably 6 weeks before she passed away, I mean, her family thought she was doing fine. And they finally called Tim and Rachel up and said, you need to get her. They're giving her about a week to live. And so I'm so thankful that her Walmart family that she worked with for 16 years all got to come out and visit her.
Yeah.
Her sister got to be with her. But she hung in for another 6 weeks. And then I finally realized the night that she did pass away that she was waiting for me to say, I'll be okay. Before
she needed to hear that.
Hear me. That's what she needed to hear.
You needed
and I
to
read a
hear.
book on that and the grieving process or death, and everything the book said was exactly right. It was so true. It was unbelievable. But she was not going to leave me until I was ready. And I told her it's okay to go. I'll be okay.
Wow.
Later, she passed away.
Wow. So do you know what that means? So whenever my mom did the same thing, and here's what I know from just reading books about and just reading the Bible, there are actual accounts in the Bible about that. So she was literally in communication with the higher spirit, and basically what is occurring is a conversation with the higher spirit and the angel saying, okay, they're beckoning her to come, and she's telling them that I'm not ready. If you could just wait just a little while longer, because I need to make sure he's okay. And when he's okay, then I'll be at peace. So she is literally transitioning and having a conversation with them, literally.
One other thing I like to mention that I read about too that was so true, and I want people to understand and believe, and I've read that when they prepare themselves to go on the journey to heaven, they want to lose a lot of excess weight that they don't need. Well, that chair was very cold, and I covered her with blankets that night, and she kept pushing them off and pushing them off and pushing them off, not wanting that weight on her because she was getting ready, preparing herself to go to heaven. And it was just blew me away. And she had the course of death rattle for about 4 hours. But I told her, I'm ready. You know, I'll be okay. And I'll see you.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I truly believe in angels. I believe
she's
on this earth to help me.
Oh, she's
and
definitely.
now they're trying to help God with this 2020 year. I don't know. I think God helps sometimes. You know, he brings angels back.
Yeah. But I'm listening to you, and I'm listening to everything you guys are saying. And it's as if I'm all the way in Tampa, away from you. And somehow, virtually, her spirit is here with me and here with you through this virtual communication. I don't know if you sense that, but going deep and just being just honest about our feelings. We're no longer, thinking about the taping. We're just so deeply entrenched in how you guys felt about her and expressing yourself that we've like literally welcomed her spirit with us. And that's why you're feeling so, your emotions are being translated in such depth, you know. So I honestly feel her there with you, and she'll continue to be there with you. But I feel her presence here too.
Well, the one saying I use the most often, when I've told my kids too, you're going to have bad days, you're going to have good days. But when you have the bad days, or you can't find something, or you need help, just tell yourself, what would Sarah do? My favorite saying, because I use it all the time. You know, I catch myself getting upset over really stupid things, and then I go, wow, how would Sarah have handled that? She wouldn't have done nothing, because God is in control of her life, and she gave her life to God to lead. And he has so much strength in the Lord. I mean, I've never seen anybody as powerful as her.
Yeah, I know you. I think you mentioned that she was instrumental in leading you to God. Is that the case?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to be like her. I mean, so much like her. And there's not people like her. Very rare. The people that are that silent, you don't know much about them. But you know what? If they're at peace with God, they don't need to be loud, talking all the time.
No.
They have left it up to the Lord to lead them. And she never was scared. The only thing at the end hurt me the most. She said she wanted to go to heaven. She told the pastor because she was a burden on me, which never. No one was going to take care of her but me.
Yeah.
And I miss it so much. I would have done it forever, but.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were with her the entire time, right? Because I remember you didn't go back to work until recently. You were with her, just being with her the entire time. And you said that it was just, for you, that was healing, therapeutic for you, just to be with her.
Yes.
That's the only thing you wanted to do. That's where you wanted to be. Yeah.
Yeah, for the 4.5 years, I never missed a doctor's appointment or a chemo appointment. I was always with her.
Yeah. 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 Jessica?
Yeah, I guess when I found out that she had cancer, I was almost like in denial, like, no, it's not gonna be bad. It's just, kind of just set it to the side that she's gonna be okay. Like just thinking nothing can happen to Sarah. We need Sarah. So when I found out, I just it hit me hard, but I kept quiet about it. When I talked to Sarah, I'd be like, I don't know how to ask her how she's feeling. Maybe she doesn't want to talk about it. That's all that's on her mind. So when I talked to her, I would talk to her about my favorite TV shows, just stuff like that. And it just seems like the last couple of weeks she got really sick, she got really skinny, and it was just really hard to watch her like that. But the way I cope with it, I just think like I see all these little blessings now, like God, and I think like Sarah bless me. I swear she's my party because there's been so many good things that have happened since she's been gone. So I wish she just look up to the sky. Thanks, Sarah. I swear she's my guardian. And I just think that she's looking down at all of us now. And before she passed, she said she couldn't wait to see her mom, Cat Elvis. And she was looking forward to seeing them. So I think she's in a much better spot. For one, the sky's pretty for us when we wake up in the morning and we got these pink skies. And it's probably Sarah painting that.
Oh.
It's just kind of how I cope with it, that she's in a better place. She's happy, she's comfortable, and she can see all of us and be with us now in our hearts forever. So,
Yeah. So that's your coping mechanism. And I'm sure all the signs that you're seeing, they're from her. And don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. It's definitely from her. She wants to make sure that you're okay, and she'll use different methods that she knows will speak to you so that you know that she's still there. Yeah, she'll speak to each of you differently because she knows you very well. Yeah. I know we shared a lot about her creativity. I know that. I don't know if Stephen wants to talk more about that. How she, won a lot of the contests and stuff. And I can't stop talking about the shoes. I mean, it's just ridiculously incredible. I remember when, you want to know a funny story? When she gave me the shoes, you know what I did? I took a picture and sent it to my family. And I'm very strict about HIPAA laws, so I don't share names. And do you know that my daughters, they loved the shoe so much. My daughters are 12 and 16 now. At the time they were 11 and 15. And they sent the picture. They called their aunt in New York. She was in New York at the time. And they said, look at what mommy's patient made. And it's edible, They said, this is amazing. And so their aunt couldn't believe, because they thought, she said, really, this looks like a Louis Vuitton. And it's a funny story because everyone was just so amazed. And my kids, kids don't get that impressed very easily, especially, you're talking about your parent. They go, oh yeah, okay, mom, we know you're a good doctor. Yeah, okay, we heard you. But they took it upon themselves to call their aunt in New York because they were so impressed and they just wanted to show everyone how amazing this was and how they couldn't possibly believe it was edible. And then, of course, the aunt mentioned that this one looks like a Louis Vuitton. Look at this heel. It's just amazing. She was incredible. Just a ton of gifts, a ton of love, a ton of light, a ton of just a heart that's unparalleled. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Rachel, so they are right. You are as laconic as, as Sarah. I want to hear what you have to say. How, tell me, something that you remember that even if it seemed insignificant at the time, it enters your mind and you either laugh or you feel like she's in the room with you or you hear her voice sometimes, maybe, because that can happen. And then tell me how you're coping because I want others to know how they can cope as well. So tell me how you cope and what advice would you give to others going through the same experience?
Well, I have to admit, it still doesn't quite seem real just because, unlike Steve's family, we haven't been, part of each other's life from day to day. But sometimes it's just these little things that I see that remind me of either times that we had together, like just even watching a weird tiny house video when they show the loft. I think of just when we were visiting dad in the hospital, a similar look to the in that hospital. It just reminds me of just the time that I and she was there with me. And so it's just kind of stupid things like that, or just thinking about more just flashes of just little stuff, like thinking about this gum machine that I had and that he has the same one. And so sometimes it's, again, because it's not a day to day, it's just when you see just some little stuff all of a sudden just out of the blue that'll make me think of,
Yes.
oh, just we were talking about, she would tell me about uh, that fancy bathroom at the Fort Smith airport. And so we had to take a picture of her in it because it's really cool. But then I was thinking, I hope I don't almost have to ever fly to that airport again, because I just remember sitting in that airport with her. And so if I have to visit dad, I'd have to be sitting there by myself. So that would be kind of weird.
Hmm, 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 The little things.
Yeah.
The silly things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's just her way of revisiting you, those thoughts in your head. That's just her way of revisiting you. And I'm sure most times you're smiling in response, but that's her way. And there'll be more. There'll be so much more. Um, and what would you say to help cope? I mean, I know you mentioned that Stephen was there and you were far. And I know you said specifically that for you, it's it's still kind of surreal. You're still
Mhm.
grappling with the reality of it all because you weren't there to actually see the transition. And that's hard because there is some closure, so to speak. Um, there's never final closure, but it helps when you're there for
Mhm.
that transition, right? So, how do you cope? Because I know that there are others who may be in your same position who are not able to be there, especially during this COVID period, right? Where people are not around each other because they can't visit, right? Because of COVID. So tell me how you, as someone who was not there for that period, how do you cope? what do you do to, and what would you tell others to help them, especially those especially in the COVID-19 era? What would be your advice?
I don't know. Just, maybe I still need advice from somebody else, because I don't know if I have it to give right now, other than I just keep absorbed in other stuff, I suppose, right now. Just, I don't know, just in daily life, and just with projects or YouTube videos or pets or whatever, that I don't know.
So I'm hearing that what you're saying is that for you, you're keeping busy, but for you, you're doing what the gift that Sarah had, which is patience. So she would have told you to be patient because she's patient. So basically, I think Sarah would want you to be patient through this whole thing and just take it one day at a time until you go through the process, because everyone has to go through that process differently. Everyone's journey is different. And yours will certainly be different from Stephen's and from Melissa and from Jessica and from Tim and from that. Everybody's journey will be different. And yours will be different too. But I think because it's different, it means that you all have different ways of coping, which means you are a wealth of knowledge for all those others who may need advice to cope. And as I said, Sarah was, the example, or she really supported, or her edict was to be patient. She would tell you, be patient. So I bet she'd want you to be patient with your healing process. And I have to say this because I think, Rachel, that I think Sarah would not want you to feel any compunction about not being there at the end. You've said that so many times that I think that it's on your mind that you weren't there. And I want you to know that she knew your heart. So you've said that so many times that I just think that that is something that you are wrestling with. Because you keep saying Stephen was there and everybody was there and I wasn't there. And Sarah knows your heart. And so I think the healing process can begin for you. That whole, where you say you're not really there yet, you have no advice to give anyone. I think when you get past that, to know that you don't have to feel compunction because you weren't there. Sarah knows. Sarah knew your heart. She knows your heart. Okay? Okay?
Could I show one picture here in a minute, Doctor?
Yes, please.
Here's something I just want to throw in there really quick. Sarah was one of those people when I met her. She didn't comb her hair, didn't fix her hair nice, didn't wear makeup, couldn't buy her jewelry, didn't need nice clothes.
Yeah.
I never needed that. I mean, I didn't think she really thought she was pretty. But this is the picture I found on her phone. She must have taken this picture when I was out of town. And this is a picture of her.
Oh,
beautiful. And she's looking in the mirror. And she's got makeup on, and she's looking at how pretty her eyes are. And I think it's the first time she realized how beautiful she really was. Her skin is just perfect.
Oh.
And I never saw it. She never told me about it.
Oh, that's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. I can't believe Sarah didn't think she was always beautiful. But she was so humble, I guess she didn't think so. Thank you for sharing that.
She didn't need anybody to, I guess
she didn't. She never did. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Dad, how are you coping? Tell me something you remember. I know you shared a few things, Tell me something you remember and tell me what you would do. What advice would you give to others as a dad? And I say this because, and I don't want you to, I'm not saying this to stimulate your lacrimal glands. Sorry, I'm not saying this to make you cry. It's just that as parents, I'm a parent. So I know that because I'm a parent, I don't want my kids to leave the earth before I do. That's always our hope, that we go before our kids. That's just the truth. And so tell me how that feels to you and tell me how you cope with knowing that your daughter left before you did. And tell me how that makes you feel and how you get through each day, so that someone else with your same experience, who as a parent lost their child and they didn't leave the earth before their child did,
Did you
how
ever get
you
that?
cope with that.
When I heard that she had cancer, I just begged God that she would survive through it. I always prayed, I know that if you will, you can. And evidently, well, God never makes a mistake.
Oh no.
And it was his will. And I hope this draws our family closer to God. Yes. That her death had a purpose in that God had some purpose in it.
Always does. Yeah. Always does. Okay. And so that's how you cope, just knowing that you believe in God, you believe that God is infallible. He does not make mistakes. And if it is his will, and because she was walking in his perfect will, then if he allowed it, then that was what was meant to be. And I guess you find solace in that, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You remember the story about Job, right? You're a preacher, so you know the story. How Job was not allowed to be touched because he had a hedge of protection around him. Remember that story? You're a pastor, so you know that story. And so God has to allow it. And if you're walking in his will and he says it's time, then you can take solace in the fact that he orchestrated it all, and we just have to find a way, not have to, but we find a way to cope with it somehow, knowing that it was his will. And sometimes that is revealed to you. He helps you to accept it. He reveals certain things. I remember Jessica mentioning that, there's certain things that that happen in her daily life that she thinks it's her. She knows it's Sarah talking to her, and I think that that is confirmation as well, right? That indeed she was meant to leave, but there's certain pearls and certain little trinkets that she leaves for you, that she keeps dropping every now and then to make you know that she's in a better place, and that's her way of helping you to cope. Yeah, yeah. But it must be hard, even with that knowledge. As a dad, it just it must somehow just has this deep burning pain to know that it's your child and she left before you. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Where is Tim?
I'm still here.
Tim, I haven't heard from you. So what I want to know is, what would you tell me what your reaction when you found out And I want to know how you're coping. And I want to know if the method, the protocol, the mechanism you're using to cope, how would you advise others to use parts or whole of that coping algorithm to help them in the same situation?
Well, I guess, obviously when I heard Sara, 5 years ago when it first happened, we thought she'd recovered. And then we knew the beginning of this year, kind of this would be by the end of the year, we knew she'd be dead, which was hard. But I guess the way I cope with it, obviously, is like Rachel said, we didn't see each other every day. We talk on the phone, but even when we were in the same room, we didn't talk. We were like, our family, I felt our family was like a family of aliens that came here from another planet. And we were like on Star Trek, how are we all connected mentally? And we didn't need to talk. That last week when I was there with her visiting her, we just sat in the room, watched Jeopardy. We didn't really say anything because there was nothing we really needed to say, because I think all our lives, when we needed to say something, when we needed to say we're sorry, we said we're sorry. The one regret is our family is not a hugging family, and we didn't hug enough. So the last time when she was visiting us in March, I made sure to hug her when we left her at the airport, when we were left. So that's my one regret, that we weren't a very hugging, loving, outwardly loving family. We knew we loved each other, but we didn't say it. It's easier. My parents said God loves you rather than I love you. So it was hard. But I guess the way I deal with it myself is 10 years ago almost now, my mom died. And Sara was the one that came here immediately. And hospice had set up a room in the nursing home where my mom was in one bed, and then there was an extra bed and there was a chair. And we take turns. So somebody was always with my mom. And sometimes both me and Sara would be there. And I remember for a couple of nights, Sara would be laying in the bed. I'd be sitting in the chair. The room was totally dark. No one was saying anything, but we knew we were there with our mom. And my mom was in a coma. We couldn't talk to her. And that's kind of the way I think now. Even though I can't talk to Sara, it's like I'm still in a room with her. And she's still there, because that's the way I would have to talk to her. She wasn't in the same house. I'd pick up a phone, call her, so I can kind of pretend that she's still a phone call away.
Yeah.
But so really for me, nothing's really changed, because I feel like she's still here. She's still with me.
And she is.
And we're still all connected.
And you're still connected, and you forever will be connected. And that's the truth. You brought up a very salient point. And so I think I feel compelled to ask that question. Are there any other regrets for you, Stephen? I know you did everything. You were there. Tell me if there are any regrets.
A lot of the regrets I have right now are the little things she did that I never acknowledged or praised her for. I guess I just, you get comfortable in a situation and you don't think you have to say anything about it. But I tell people now that you don't have to wait for something great to happen to tell somebody they're wonderful. Praise them every day. Give them a hug every day. Tell them you love them. And like Tim said, she wasn't the type of person it was a hard person to try to give a hug to. Even being married, I could walk by the bathroom when she was in the shower and she'd cover up real quick. It's like, okay, I joke around and say, okay, I'm not gonna look.
Oh my God. Oh.
That type of person. Whenever she talked to her dad on the phone or something, says, don't you ever tell your dad you love him when you get done talking with him? And it's just like, I noticed Rachel's kind of that way too. I can't give her, when she came up to try to give her a hug or something, it's just almost like, wow.
You
It's
seem
okay.
like,
It's okay to be loved, but they care for everybody else. They don't care for themselves. It seems like they don't last. And I kept telling even Rachel, it's okay to be loved. It's okay to smile. It's okay to be happy.
yeah. It's more of, I don't know, it's just weird because she gave so much, but at the same time,
She put so many smiles on everybody else's face, but didn't.
exactly. She places smiles on everybody else's face, but she doesn't want to accept that in return. It's just very interesting to me. It's as if her whole goal was to make sure that anyone around her, she impacted them in a positive way, but she didn't really need it reciprocated because she's not giving it to receive. She's just giving it wholeheartedly, you know? And that's just interesting to me. Jessica, regrets, any regrets?
Regrets I'd say is about when I first met Sarah. I was a teenager yet, so I was a older teenager, but I was just kind of blew off visiting dad and Sarah on the weekends, or just kind of wanted to just be with my friends and stuff, being a young kid, you know. And I look back now over times to where they asked us over for dinner and we just didn't go. And I just wish I would have taken advantage of every moment that I could have had to spend that with her. Also, just like little things is like we used to watch The Bachelor every night. When Sarah would watch it, she'd record it for me and watch it downstairs. And I don't know, I just never like that way. I wish we would have kept those nights where we like a designated night where we got together all the time. And that's just a regret I had. I feel like we just kind of got lost in time and being adults and having things going on. Always make time for family. No matter what it is, so.
So, okay, so two things I am gathering from what you're saying. You're saying that you regret the times that you didn't make it priority because you were a teenager, and you regret it, and your advice would therefore be to others that if you have the chance, that you should. But here's the thing: you were being age appropriate, and at the time, there's no way for you to predict the future. And so you're doing what you do that's age appropriate. At the time, that's what you wanted to do. And Sarah understood that. The Sarah that you describe, is not going to hold that against you.
Oh, not at all.
Exactly. So I want everybody to leave here. So when we talk about regrets, in order for you to heal, it's not just about accepting. It's about freeing yourself from any regrets that you have. And that is always, always mitigated over time by remembering, instilling, reminding yourself of the type of person she was and how she would have been understanding enough and that she would have never held that against you. So, in honor of her, you see, in honor of her, so you can tell yourself that I have no regrets. I forgive myself because it will honor Sarah for me to forgive myself and not have regrets, because it will honor her. She will not want you to have regrets. She wouldn't. It would hurt. It hurts her heart to feel that you have regrets because she wants you to go on and live life fully, knowing that she loved you regardless. She's one of those people who gave unconditional love. Okay, so that's just a takeaway from this, that you know that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any last minute words?
There's one other thing that I regret, that I never got to let Sarah ride the elephant. Donnie probably remembers this. I remember when she was probably 4 or 5, her and Rachel wandered. There was a circus in town, and they heard about the elephants, and all they wanted to do was ride the elephant. And they went wandering off from the house, and Mom didn't notice they were gone. And somebody saw them down, these 2 little twins walking down by the carnival.
Yeah.
And brought them home, and Sarah said that they just wanted to ride the elephant. And I didn't know that she was really sick. And I said, you know what? If I can take you somewhere, we can ride an elephant right now, we would do that. But
Yeah,
it's one of the
yeah,
things that I got a kick out of.
yeah, yeah. Everyone has those, but overall, I think Sarah was very happy with all of you. And because of you, I think her heart was full when she left, full with a life that she knew um, was blessed by having all of you in her lives, and you feel the same way too. Um, you feel the same way as well. I know that. I wanted to probably close by you telling me something funny, something weird about Sarah and funny. Like she would, people would say, for example, you tell a joke. I know people said that about me. Like you tell a joke and you miss the punchline. So something that's weird about her that you would laugh about, just to end on one of those notes. Do you remember anything that she would do that you would go, oh, that's Sarah. Oh my God. She's just, yeah. I mean, she doesn't get those Jeopardy questions, right? She always thinks it's that and it's the other one. And we tell her all the time, but she always thinks it's the other answer. Anything silly.
It's just the opposite. It was with Jeopardy, and thank God he's up in Alex is in heaven with her now. But she'd watch Jeopardy, and she could sit there and she would know the answers before anybody was in, and she would know some of these answers, and I'd look at her and go, "Why? How did you know that? Why do you even want to know that? I mean, what's wrong with you if you know that answer? I mean, nobody knows that answer, but she." And that's when I realized how intelligent she was, but she had such a memory, especially with television shows and trivia and the Bible. Unbelievable. Amazing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that about her if you were married to her like I was. If someone just met her at Walmart, people at Walmart didn't know anything about her. They thought they knew Sarah, but there was so much about her. And I'm still learning so much about her by going through her things that I never knew about.
Yeah.
She was an amazing person.
Yeah. She had a deep, literally, a deep well of creativity, love, all of these things. And she seems like the type of person who is very selective about who she shows those things to.
Yes.
It just seems that way to me, just from meeting her. And I only met her a few times. It has to be something. She has to literally feel something in her heart that compels her to reveal something to you. And I sensed that, which is why you sent that picture back to me, because I said, I see you, because I literally, for whatever reason, her spirit, I saw it through her not speaking. She was very quiet. But there's something about her that spoke to me. And it was from the depths of her heart and from her spirit that was just emanating from her without her speaking much. And I think we both sensed that, and she felt comfortable sharing that part of herself with me, those shoes. And because I sensed that she was the type that was so reticent to share those things about herself, that's why I felt so special. That's why I felt so special when she did it, because I just sensed she was that type. And then when you called me, I thought it's almost as if I needed to know her before she left, and we needed to know each other before she left, because there's something I gained from her.
Well,
It's a lot. I gained a lot from her.
A huge connection when she met you. Like I told you when we met you, it's like, I mean, 3.5 years going to the doctors up at Avera, you're the only one and the first one that ever took the time to explain to her what was going on and what she was going to do. And she really appreciated that. And so did I, because we were left in the dark on so many different things. They didn't even tell us. It was very frustrating. But you were so patient and took the time to be her friend. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me, not because of self-approbation, but it means a lot to me because it's my purpose on earth. And so I need to be in the right trajectory because I want to make sure that he sent me on earth for a mission that I need to fulfill. And so given that she's not here anymore, I'm happy to know that I fulfilled that mission for her. I'm really happy to know that I did that. Yeah.
Just one other thing I'd like to show you. See this
Yes, I know you
tree in
have
the
you
backyard?
just I know you have a lot to show
This
me.
tree in the backyard was planted 10 years ago or 8 years ago when Lois passed away, her mother. And we let it here for the first time in honor of Sarah to see it in heaven.
Oh, wow. 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 Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah. Stephen, you could I've been communicating with you and you could talk. I think that you could probably write a book about Sarah and still have 2 more books to write. I mean, after that, there's so many things to say about her. We can't even say it in one show. I'm going to ask each one to give just a last thought. And again, Stephen, I plan to include everything in the production. I'm going to send it to you because this is all about Sarah. And I want you to be able to look back at this with pride, knowing that you all participated in this celebration of her life. And when I talked to the network, I told them I just want to dedicate this to Sarah. They don't, because I just wanted to convince them of how and the audience, just so you could touch other people's lives, because you don't know whose lives you're touching when you do things, like Sarah touched my life, I touched her life, and here we are, not predicting that this would ever happen, right? There's no way we could have predicted that. And then anyone watching this, you don't know. You're touching so many people's lives, and then they learn from this experience, and then they disseminate that information to others. So there are going to be people in different countries that you touch their lives without even knowing, and this is all from Sarah. So you're spreading her legacy, you're honoring her legacy by doing that, so that she, through you, can touch people's lives. Okay.
One thing that she did for me that's amazing was my family never thought this would ever happen to me, is that I'm involved in the church now. I do PowerPoint presentations at the 9:30 service. I'm going to start being usher at the church, and I also did carpet cleaning up at the church for 3.5 hours yesterday, and I'm going to be doing spot cleaning and stains in the carpets with coffee and stuff. So I'm getting more involved with the church. But Matt, Sarah used to get upset with me. So I said, volunteering for some stupid little thing. And I understand why she did it, because that's family, and these people are real.
Yeah. And they're I'm sure she's proud of you, and she believed in service so much.
Well, at first I was doing it for Sarah, but then I decided, I need to do it for myself.
Exactly.
So my whole way I was looking at things. Yeah. I felt so good when I left the church yesterday that I accomplished something. I did something for the church, and I got home. I hadn't felt that good in I don't know how long, a couple years, but this feeling inside my body.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
And Sarah did that for me. Sarah turned me into that person, and I'm a witness of her now.
Yeah. 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 Sometimes you have to wonder, what did you do to, cause her to enter your life, right?
No.
Such a special person, right? You wonder, what did you do to just have her enter your life, right? Wow, such a special person. Tim, don't think you're gonna get away now. You're hiding there.
Well,
What last minute thoughts about? Yeah, I want to know what would be the last thing you would say to anyone listening to this. Just last minute thoughts.
well, I guess
anything silly, the silly stuff, anything.
Well, we were growing up in the 60s and we were huge Star Trek fans. So we watched the original Star Trek. And I always wanted to be Captain Kirk. But Sarah, she liked Spock better because he was quiet and stoic and real smart. So I think that describes
that sounds like Sarah, smart and stoic.
She was Mr. Spock, you know. And that's kind of what I take away from her life is she wasn't one of these to sit around, cry, poor me, why me. She was Mr. Spock. She just always had the logical approach. Okay, like with her cancer, what do we need to do to fix this? What do we need to do? And she never asked who's going to come in and save me or do this. She just, like with her first husband, when he died of lung cancer, he had huge medical bills because he didn't have any insurance. And I told her, you're not legally responsible for his medical bills anymore. But she got a second job and she paid off all his medical bills.
Oh my God.
But God rewarded her because that second job is where she met Steve. So that's what a lot of times when you do the right thing, you get rewarded, and she did the right thing.
And she did not do it to get anything in return. No. She did it from her whole heart, not expecting any reciprocation. Yes. And that's the best gift. The best gift is actually giving. Yeah. Yes. Yes, for sure. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. Wow. What an amazing woman. What an amazing woman. Okay. Okay, Dad, you, if it weren't for you, she wouldn't be here. Along with her mom, of course. So I'm going to have you have the last word. Is that okay?
What's your last thoughts about Sarah?
Oh, I wish I could have been more gentle all the time when she was growing up. I know the discipline was my duty, but I think of ways that I could have been more gentle and more understanding.
You're always going to think of that. I mean, but you were a parent. It's the culture. You did what the culture dictated. I don't think Sarah was thinking about that growing up at all. When she was an adult, she didn't think about that. She appreciated everything you did. It's the same way that she didn't hold vengeance for those who were teasing her on the bus. She decided that she was going to reward that with being good, right? So there's no way she thought her father meant her any evil by being strict. That was just the culture. But I understand. I mean, when you look back and you're, having regrets. But again, to heal, you have to somehow shed the regrets. And the only way to do that is to know that when you do that, you are doing it for Sarah, because she is not holding on to that at all. And she does not want you to have regrets. The last thing she would want is for you to walk around with regrets in your heart. She knows it's painful enough to lose her. She would not want that. So she wants that released so you can heal. I know I'm not your family, so you're probably thinking, well, how could you tell me this? I'm telling you this because sometimes when you're not engrossed in it, because you are in this process, healing and dealing with her loss, and I'm outside looking in, and I can tell you that for sure. I met her, and I know you know deep down that she does not want you to suffer through any feelings of guilt. I know that. I know that. Her heart was gold. Her heart was gold. Jessica? Anything you want to say?
No, I thought it was pretty cool just hearing all these stories and stuff about Sarah, and she's going to be incredibly missed. Yeah, anything to honor her. I praise her all the time. She did a lot for my family, and she'll always be an angel to us. And
yeah,
we miss Sarah. So.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I really just want to thank you all for doing this in her honor, and I know that looking back, you'll be happy you did. What I can tell you from my experience is that it's a one day at a time thing, and it's going to be a roller coaster. But her life is something that you're going to draw from every day. And there's so many experiences that you've had with her that are so positive that she left that legacy to strengthen you. And she's going to be the source of your strength along with God, because she gave you that too. I mean, she gave you the gift for sure. She led you to Christ, Stephen, and she left you with that gift. And I think that will be very helpful. Anything else you want to say? Advice to others, just one day at a time. You'll get through it. Think of the positive memories and grieve if you need to, because you will need to grieve. And what I have to say to you guys is that you had a special person. I spent very few, I spent not even 1,000th or 1,000,000th of the time that you spent with her. And I could already tell that. So just know that you are blessed to have had her in your life. I mean, truly blessed. So there is something special about you all that God decided that you would be the ones to experience her love, her grace, her kindness, her patience, her creativity. So you're special because he decided that you're the ones who would be her family to experience her in that way on this earth before she passed. Okay? Stephen, thank you so much. Guys, thank you. I really do appreciate you taking the time. And I know Melissa had to leave, but please convey my thanks to her as well. And Tim, you're hiding in the background, I know.
I'm still here.
I know you're hiding.
I see Tim growing a beard. He must be working as Santa Claus or something this year. He's got a nice white fluffy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think you guys have said all you have to say? This is all for Sarah. So I don't want to miss anything.
I don't think a person could ever cover all the things you could say about Sarah.
I know. But
everybody's like that, even that didn't even talk to her, just maybe bought a cake from her. I think they just, she touched everybody. It was unbelievable.
I can imagine. Yeah. It's her spirit.
And I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. She cared. She loved you too. She loved everybody.
Yeah.
So you can love yourself. I don't think you can love anybody else. So that was very important too, I think.
Yeah. She really touched me. Thank you so much. And I'm glad I was able to treat her the way she deserved to be treated. And I'm glad our paths crossed. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening. And this has been Revoxa Life and your host, Dr. Sophia Edwards Bennett. This has to be one of the most touching, emotional, and just filled with all the spectrum of just life's goals and counsel, advice, all wrapped up into one bundle of a beautiful person known as Sara Feuerstein. And I'm happy that we were able to celebrate her life in this manner. And so thank you for listening. We hope and we know that this will impact you in such a way that you will share with others. And this will certainly inform others on how to cope with similar experiences. You have been blessed with sharing with us in the life of Sara Feuerstein. Thank you.